Hello, my name is Christopher Houston, and today I want to talk to you about the 5 steps you can use to increase your chances of getting a federal position. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to see more content like this in the future. I'll be posting videos like this every week. It's been a couple of weeks since I posted one of these videos because I kind of upgraded some of my camera equipment, and we want to see how that works today. So, why should you listen to me? Well, I have over 35 years working in the federal government system, and that's with the military, I was a government contractor, and now I'm a federal employee. Also, I've been married to my wife for over 20 years, and my wife has over 20 years experience in the military, the federal government, and she was also a contractor at one time. So, and unlike me, I've only worked for one federal agency. She's worked for several federal agencies. So together, we have about 50 years worth of experience with the federal government. Now, let's get into the 5 steps. The first step is tailor your resume for the job you're applying for. The biggest mistake that most people make when applying for a federal position is they create one resume and they use that resume to apply for all the positions they apply for. Don't do that. The way most federal hiring systems work, the team or computer system looks at the job description and they match what you have on your resume to that job description. In your job description, you want to clearly show how your work experience matches your job description. You want to show how it matches not only the job description, but the responsibilities and the qualifications outlined in the job announcement. For instance, for the job that I have, the competencies were things like this: preparing, planning, coordinating, and managing support operations that include administration, financial budget, human resources, customer service, and so on. So things like this I had to outline in my resume before I applied for the position. Remember, don't think that the individuals that are reviewing your resume should just know what you're thinking. You have to spell it out in your resume. If you are claiming you provided leadership and direction managing, overseeing a diverse workforce of professionals and support staff, if you say that, right, or if that's one of the job descriptions, then spell it out in your resume and spell out the situation where you did that. These were just a few of the qualifications that I had to outline in my resume. I will explain how to outline them and how to answer questions related to these types of qualifications. I'll do that in step 5. So that was step 1. The takeaway from this step is tailor your resume for the job that you're applying for. Step 2, apply for a job that best fits your skill set. I know this should go without saying, but like my dad always says, common sense isn't all that common. You want to be able to spell out the different things that you're qualified for and apply for that job that match those things. If you have not done some of those things, you may not be a good fit for the job, because in some jobs they may ask questions specifically related to those things outlined in the job description. The questions will be related to the job requirements. For instance, one of the questions I had to answer was related to overseeing various administrative functions, including human resources, finance, procurement. I had to rate my experience from 1 to 5. 1 being, I didn't have any experience in that competency. 5 being, I was basically a subject matter expert in that competency. Of course, we would all want to answer 5 on these type of questions, because we all can remember a time when we were considered an expert, or we supervised performance of a specific task or competency. The thing is, if you have not done this task at a high level, be prepared to explain how you completed this task at a high level. What is the specific situation you completed this task, and who would normally consult you as an expert? Be able to speak to this. If you're telling someone that hey, you were the expert at this, talk about the situations where you proved that. Talk about the individuals that look to you as the expert or the subject matter expert. I will explain how to frame your answer to the question in step 5, but it's up to you to have done the work and actually been called upon as an SME. Remember, step 2 is only apply for jobs that fit your skill set. Step 3, you may have past experience that help. In my opinion, there are 3 areas that can give you a leg up or an advantage when you're applying for a federal position. The first one is you are currently in a federal position. If you are currently in a federal position, that's great. Some jobs are only open to what we call status employees. This just means you currently hold a federal position. Being in a federal position currently tells the hiring manager that you probably understand the government system and you know what to expect. If you are currently a federal employee and you have been in your current position for a while, don't forget about steps 1 and 2. You still have to do that. Some people have been in a position for a while and have not interviewed or updated their resume for a long time. If this is you, make sure you go in there, look at that step 1 and step 2 because it's very important. I have seen individuals apply for a position that they are qualified for, but they did not make the best qualified list. Now that's the list you want to be on, meaning that you're one of the best qualified of all the applicants. Normally it's because they did not follow steps 1 and 2 in this video. They did not do that and they did not make the best qualified list. Remember, the person that is looking at your resume does not know you as a person. The way you market and sell yourself is through your resume. The second thing that can give you a leg up is a military background, especially retired military. If you have a military background, it's good, but it's not a shoe-in. You still have to make the BQ list. I recommend reviewing steps 1 and 2 and 5 of this video. I know we have not gotten to number 5, but it's worth the wait. If you are proud military, especially retired military, it tells the employer that you are dependable. If you are proud military, it tells the employee that you understand and welcome change. And being proud military tells the employer that you understand the federal system. I understand not all veterans are dependable, but the bottom line is the federal agencies look favorably at hiring veterans. I read a GAO, a Government Accountability Office report that said in November 2009, there was an executive order that created the Veterans Employment Initiative and the Council on Veterans Employment. So being a veteran helps, and federal agencies believe in hiring veterans. The third thing that can help you is being a government contractor. This gives you insight into how the government and a specific agency works. Because if you're working inside of that agency, you get to know a lot of people in that agency. I started off as a contractor at the agency I work for now. When a position came open, I had a leg up because I understood the operations and I was well liked in the organization. I know you're probably thinking, I got the job because I knew somebody. Well, I've heard this saying over and over. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, that might be true to some extent, but I want to change that saying. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. It's not who you know, it's who knows your background and experience. It's not who you know, it's who knows your work ethic. That's what's going to help you get the job if you're a contractor inside of a federal agency. The bottom line is understand that these 3 past experiences may help, but they are not guaranteed. If you don't have any of these 3 past experiences, don't worry about it. Steps 1 and 2 still apply. In the GAO study I was talking about earlier, it mentioned about 30% of the federal workforce are veterans. So there is plenty of opportunity for everyone, not just veterans. Step 4, understand the USA Jobs website. You will have to craft several resumes and set up alerts to alert you when the type of job you are looking for comes open. There are ways to set up different filters and alert you for very specific jobs. For instance, if you don't want to move outside of your current area, you can set up alerts just for your state. If you only want to apply for positions over a certain salary or grade, you can set that filter. If you are only looking for jobs in a specific agency, you can set that filter. All of these filters can be set on the USA Jobs website. I will leave a link to the USA Jobs frequently asked questions page and the main site in the description below. This is a great place to start. Also, leave a comment and I will answer any questions I can regarding how to get to that site. You want to set up alerts because sometimes jobs are only open for a short time, sometimes 7 to 10 days. When this happens, you want to know the first day that the job is open. That will give you time to structure your resume, get all the required documents, and research the agency that you are applying for. And finally, understand the mission of the agency. If you get an interview, you want to understand a little bit about the agency and their mission, but I'm sure you already knew that. Anyway, step 4, make sure you understand the USA Jobs website and its functionality. Okay, here it is. Step 5, situation, action, outcome. When writing your resume, don't just use bullet points. Use a narrative. And in that narrative, use situation, action, outcome, and I'm gonna throw this one in also, impact. This is something that's not really taught, the impact. So I'm gonna explain this quickly, but I could do a full 10 to 15 minute video just on this topic. But I'm just gonna touch on it real quick. If you wanna see an in-depth video on how to structure your resume and answer interview questions, leave a comment that you would like to see that video and I'll see what I can do. Let's take one of the criteria of my present job. One of the criteria I spoke about in step 1 and 2 was provide leadership and direction in maintaining, overseeing a diverse workforce of professional and support staff engaged in multiple administrative and operational functions. If I stated that I had done this in my previous position, I would have to explain a situation where I actually led and directed a diverse workforce of professionals. So that's what I'm saying. So I would describe a situation where I did that. And when you're describing that situation, think about a problem that you solved. Don't just think about, yeah, I was one of the group of people who did this. Think about a specific situation where you actually took the lead and they had to rely on you. Next is action. Now, here's an important part. What action did you take? What did you do to help this situation that you just explained? So the situation was a problem. Now the action that you took to help alleviate that problem. Think about it. And that action, use a lot of, this is what I did. This is what I started. This is what the team that I led, because they want to know what you did. What did you build? What did you, what training did you set up? Anything like that. So situation, action, and then outcome. Don't forget about the outcome, because sometimes people will give a situation, you know, a problem basically, and then they would kind of talk about what they did, and then they would stop. Well, no, you have to give the outcome. And in your outcome, you want to explain exactly the problem being solved, right? You don't just want to give a generic outcome. You want to say, no, the problem was solved. The challenge I was having was alleviated. And not only that, maybe you want to say something about it, or you don't want to say it unless it happened, but you want to talk about maybe the agency implemented your solution agency-wide. Those are the types of things, that's how you want to answer the questions, situation, action, outcome, in your resume, in your narrative. And here's the most important part, the impact. So even once you say, you talk about the situation, you talk about the action, you talk about the outcome, now what was the impact? What was the overall impact, right? You could have gotten a promotion from whatever you did. That would be an impact. Once again, the agency could have implemented this, or let's say you did it in your organization, the agency could have implemented that across the entire agency, right? That would be an impact statement. Now I understand that it may not happen that way all the time, or you may not have implemented something to that extent, but just think about that impact and what happened because of something that you did, and use that for each one of the competencies or each one of the requirements that's in the job description, and just litter your resume with, you know, situation, action, outcome, impact. And trust me, that will help you. So we've talked about the 5 steps, and I hope these steps help you in your next federal job application and interview, because don't forget, you can use situation, action, outcome, impact as you're answering those interview questions. Listen, I appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button. And if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I will be posting leadership videos from beautiful Hawaii at least once a week. As you can see, I'm out here on my Lanai. I was trying to get this video done before it got dark, you know, and I did it. And as you can see, the weather out here is beautiful. And I'll put a picture of the sunset that I'm gonna go watch tonight also. And just to, you know, give you guys an example of what it's like living out here in Hawaii. I try to do that in all my videos. So listen, my name is Christopher Houston. Thank you very much. Good night and God bless.